All right, here we go. A little bit of technical difficulties to get the day started. My favorite. Apparently, stuff updated while I was gone for a couple weeks, and when I hit that go live button, it said no, no, you can't. So hopefully everything's working here. I stole cords and stuff like that to go to Peru, and I had to hook stuff back up, and so hopefully audio's right back where it was. So I decided to go live today because we've got the members only meeting right after this. Starts in roughly a couple hours from now. Eric Thomas will be speaking on Corridora Venom, which a lot of comments, questions to ask Eric, and they'll be doing Q&A and all of that. And one person I thought was kind of funny that like they were saying, Corridoras aren't poisonous, they're venomous, and all of that, and that is literally the talk of like how they actually have, yes, they have some like poison or venom, and I always transpose the two, right? That when you get stuck by a fin, it's gonna itch, and it's their defense mechanism, right? But then the reason they're studying it is they also actually excrete a poison or venom or whatever you want to call it, that can kill off the other corridoras, and they're studying like, does this actually work as a defense mechanism towards other fish and all of that. So I just thought it was funny that the comment was basically like, duh, of course they do. And it's like literally a university is studying this because no one knows the answer here. So bringing those talks to you guys, and the information can travel down the pipeline. Like if you're not a member, that's fine. We'll all learn. We'll all be talking about it going forward, and the information will get out there. So I have no doubt Eric will be a good speaker. And I just thought, why not get a bunch of you guys' questions and everything out of the way before I'm sitting in the chat and we're learning about kind of corridoras. So you guys can post up your questions, and it's because we have the members only meeting after this. As long as you're a subscriber, you can ask questions because it'll be members only for the actual member talk, obviously. So, so Peru was fun. There was very few like oh my gosh moments. We were actually very efficient at collecting some of the fish we wanted, which was cool. There was some things that, again, like I never do my due diligence. Well, this time I didn't do my due diligence, and I caught peacock bass, and I was going to set up a very large aquarium for them, right? And it turns out they're classified as a food fish, which you'll see in the videos, because if it was too big, the boat staff and all that wanted to eat it, and I actually did eat some, and it tastes like trout. And so my brain didn't associate the two, going, well, you can get peacock bass all the time, kind of, small ones in pet stores, right? Like not all the time, but they're available, and they just have to be bred. So I ended up building tanks is what I did while I was there. So I was like, okay, peacock bass with this fish and this fish and this fish, and then we caught another fish, and I was like, oh yeah, I wanted that too. So then I built a tank around that. So I kind of built two aquariums that I was going to set up from Peru, and minus the peacock bass now, it's like, well, now it could go maybe in one large one, or we'll spread them out a little more. But the shipment went amazing. You guys, as members, will be getting that sometime next week. It was actually Wednesday night at like midnight. Dean and I were unboxing and putting them away. I didn't get to bed till like 2 o'clock in the morning. So, good times though. All right. No fun leaf shirt? No, just these are actually my favorite shirts. I was thinking about actually doing some I don't know what to call it, some different videos, see if you guys liked it, on like different products I use in my life. They're like, I use this every day in my life, and it's amazing, and it's the best, because I don't just test everything for aquariums. My brain does that for everything, whether it's a cell phone, a little gadget, a shirt. And so I find all these things, I'm like, this is the best of this category. My water bottle, you guys heard me talking about that. So maybe someday I'll do a video that 1/10 of you guys will watch, but maybe it'll actually help some people. So did I end up getting sick while I was there? I did. Pretty much I think everybody got sick at some point. I luckily got sick right at the beginning. So I booked an extra hotel day when we were on our way there because I've missed a plane before and then been late to the boat. So we booked in an extra day from flights and COVID and all that. And I somehow got super sick that day before we went to the boat, which was great because I just got to lay in the hotel room and basically sleep it off, and then I was good to go. And then I didn't get sick the rest of the time there, which is good. But I think it hit Randy the first or second day we were there. Then it hit Joel. Joel got hit pretty hard, and then Dean got hit as well. And now on the way back, not on the way, but Dean's got a kind of bronchitis or something now. So it's, it definitely takes a toll on the body and all of that. You're kind of working pretty hard. It probably doesn't look like on video as much just because you cut out so much of the trek. If you have to climb and get your way in 30 minutes, right, in 100% humidity and heat, and then get back out. Most of that gets cut from the footage because it's not very interesting unless someone happens to fall or you see something extra cool. It's just filler, and so it gets cut. And so, but on the body itself, fairly taxing. Just standing there, you're sweating. Even on the boat, it's very humid, and you're just out of your element. So it gets everyone eventually. Is kind of no one's you think you're ready for, and definitely training with personal trainer and stuff made it a lot easier. It was definitely a lot easier this time, but yeah. So Peru didn't make it too much more difficult. It was just Peruvian law stated we had to wear 2 masks on the plane from it was Houston to Peru, and then the airport you had to wear 2 masks the whole time. And then basically once you got outside the airport, you could go down to 1 mask for everywhere. So yeah, didn't add too much. It was honestly just more stress of there was extra forms and COVID tests and stuff, and making sure that the timelines lined up. You had to get a COVID test within 72 hours of leaving. You didn't want to wait too long though, because if there was a snafu, if you don't have a test, you can't get on the plane. You do it too early and it's past 72 hours, there's a chance they'll deny you getting on the plane. And vice versa coming back, right? And the 2 tests were different. Like in the United States, it was that easy test. I don't know if you guys have ever taken the test. I've taken a few at this point, but you just kind of do the inside your nostril a little bit on each side, and that was real kind of easy. And then the way back though in Lima, it was the one where they basically touch your brain. That was the first time I had that one done. It's every one of us cried, not from pain, but from something being so far up your nose, it feels like it's behind your eye, and you're just kind of oh my gosh, that's way up there. And I won't say obviously, but all of us were negative, and it was fine, and we all took precautions, and it was fine. So, but you do have that thing at the back of your mind going, what if one of us or all of us don't pass this test? We're stuck in Peru for how long? And no one really knew what to do. If it did come back positive, do you just go back to the hotel? What do you do in that point? But we didn't have to find out. So, lucky. Well, I don't know if it's luck. Went well. So, when are the videos going to come out? I think the first unboxing of the fish will come out next week for members. And then as far as the Peruvian collecting videos and all of that, that'll probably be more 3-4 weeks from now, which it sounds like a long time, but we had 6 cameras going, and I've got this one right here. It's got a bunch of mud and dirt on it, right? That's after I cleaned it. I gotta clean it more. But this one GoPro, if it was on my head, right? This one GoPro has over 20 hours of footage, right? And so we had basically 4 of those going. So there's a lot of footage for Jimmy. And then we had handheld cell phone and other cameras, right? So there were 6 cameras going, lots of angles, and so we kind of have to scrub through and find out what is it that the footage that we have, what stories do we want to make out of this, and then Jimmy can kind of put those together. But there's other videos that, a couple of videos that I know for sure we'll be making. One's on autosyncless, and that's mostly going to be me doing a talking head. But the footage I got at the wholesalers and while collecting and all that, it really puts a good picture together from basically catching in the wild all the way to our home aquarium, that while I've tried to articulate well in the past, I haven't been able to show it. And I think it'll be kind of eye-opening. There's some other stuff I want to do in a live stream at some point, and like little clips that I took that I didn't want to make a whole video out of, but like I've got a clip of Amazon puffers, right, that were at a wholesaler, and they were pretty poor quality, emaciated, all that kind of stuff, and they're one of the largest exporters out of Peru, right? And so it became much more apparent why we might struggle in the hobby, or a store might struggle once these fish finally get to a wholesaler, and then they get to a store, and then now we're in charge of them, right? And we have the difference of we caught them out of the wild versus them being at a wholesaler. And in the wild, they were kind of fat and plump and healthy. At the wholesaler, they weren't. And so I don't know. My voice here is having problems. Hold on. I don't know if is it the wholesaler's fault, or is it the fault of like the collectors? And by fault, I'm not really putting fault, but where is the, I don't want to call it improper care or whatever, but where is the weight loss and that kind of stuff happening in the transition from wild all the way to a home Aquarius, right? And I think I think that it'll be mostly on the kind of the wholesaler side, because it's weird. I saw they like were trying to feed it guppies, and I'm like, they're not going to eat guppies. But they're also, I don't think there's any, I didn't see like any snails available. So, but yeah, stuff like that will make it to kind of a live stream, and we'll talk about it, and I can show the video and the little clips and that kind of stuff. And yeah, that was most of my goal, is just to get usable stuff for the hobby. So 4 weeks for Peru footage. Yeah, it's going to take a long time. I mean, we could put out a Peru video tomorrow. You just wouldn't like to watch it. It'd be like, this is horribly boring. But it's actually, we had a meeting. Jimmy and I had a meeting about it yesterday. Like, a lot goes into what we do. It might not seem it from a consumption standpoint, but the fact that we spent 3 hours yesterday, just literally 3 hours, talking about, well, what do I think is going to make some videos? Where do we think member-only video versus general channel videos are going to be? This part, that part happens. And then, it's going to take quite a bit to put it all together, to get the right angles, right? It's not just one camera, cut out boring stuff, and then you have it. It's, ooh, there's the camera, there's that angle. Oh, that happened over here that looked really cool. Cut to that angle, right? And then cut back, and everyone's got different audio, right? So some of the challenges we face that most times, if we do our job right, you guys won't notice, is that there really aren't good waterproof microphones. And we're in the river, we're getting wet all the time, covered in mud, right? And so basically we had to wear GoPros on our head and try to keep them dry. And every time someone talks, Jimmy's going to have to cut to that GoPro's audio. So we can have the main image, but insane amounts going to be done with audio work to get a nice seamless 8-minute video to come out of it. So it's, on Jimmy's side, crazy intensive, right? On the filming side, also pretty intensive, but that's why there's this lag of getting, 3 or 4 weeks. It seems like a long time. We actually want to put something out that will have a little bit of staying power, and you guys will want to see. So let's see here. Trying to just find a question to answer. Oh, will I be vacationing after this stressful trip? No. Mostly I want to be home, and so I'm glad to be home. There's a lot to do in the fish room, and I mowed my yard yesterday, so my lawn was getting long. So getting that kind of stuff. I haven't played any video games or anything. It's mostly just been back to I guess the grind and trying. I've been sleeping a lot. That's why I woke up early today. Is I fell asleep at like, I don't know, 9:30 p.m. last night, and then slept a bunch. And I don't know if everyone else has been sleeping a bunch, but I've been sleeping like 11 hours a day every day since I've been back. It's been. I mean, I've also been doing a lot during the day, so maybe I'm extra tired. But catching up on sleep. Sleep's not the easiest thing to get on the boat because you're on the boat schedule of like boats running super loud, everyone's awake. Sleeping quarters aren't exactly the best. You've got bugs and mice and that kind of stuff that you're battling, So, did I have fun? Yeah, it was definitely fun. The fish list, I got 2 of the fish that we were hunting for. The ones that we didn't get time to go see, well, we tried, was neon tetras. Right, so we went to a place where they had caught neon tetras before. We hike all the way in. We get there, and it's just an absolute muddy mess. And the lake in which it was a good collecting area, because I'll just do a brief overview. But basically, in the Amazon, water's level rise and fall, right? And so we go when the water levels are lowest because that's the easiest time to collect fish, right? And so. Neon tetras can basically be anywhere. And so they tended to collect at this lake. And so we hike into this lake, and we get there, and it's dried up. So there's no neon tetras to get from there. And we didn't seine any. So we didn't find any neon tetras. And, I was hoping to kind of document habitat a little more and that. But it doesn't really make for a great story if you go like, well, there's normally neon tetras here. Look at this habitat, and it's dried out, right? So, yeah, and I don't want to necessarily ruin the fish that we did catch because that. Well, I guess as members you'll see what we got, but you won't. So I ended up finding. We caught some wild Juraparis, some Cupido cichlids. What else do we get? We got some Amazon puffers. We got Corridoras. We got. Festivums. We got. Trying to remember what Pinktail Celsius. What else did I put away? Leaf fish, like a true leaf fish. I know there's more, and we also bought some stuff from the wholesaler too, which I bought like some mouse cats and that type of stuff. Will discus breed in hard water? Usually discus will breed in the hard water, but the eggs have trouble hatching. So you usually have to doctor the water to get eggs to hatch out. Did we find anything we haven't found before? Yeah, lots of stuff. Each trip there's so much diversity, and just depending on where. And one thing we probably haven't shown very well in video is, like, what do I want to say? Like, imagine you're in your yard, right? Whatever size it is. Imagine you like moved into 3 sections, and there'd be 3 distinct different types of fish. So like we pulled a seine, right? And one of them was filled with nothing but freshwater barracuda, which we didn't need. So you let them all out. But then you go down the beach or whatever a little bit, and you pull the next seine, and it's completely different fish. And when you think about it, in our aquarium, you might get a big school of fish going, right? But they don't necessarily mix. They do sometimes. So, if a big school of barracudas is coming, maybe if you're a smaller fish, you go, I got to get out of here, right? And so you get out of there, and you went down the shore a little bit, then we net that, and it's all different. But we got to see, there's predatory fish. There's, the barracudas. There was the vampire tetras, those big ones with the big teeth. There was wolffish. There's peacock bass. There's a lot of things that are predators. And then there was lots of, small tetras and hatchetfish and pencilfish and angelfish and lots of different catfish. And so there's all different types of stuff that you would catch, but it would be completely random. You might get, so in one pool, right? So maybe we get peacock bass, some juraparis, some tetras, and other stuff, and you have to sort through it, going, "Ooh, I'd like to make a group of that. I'd like to breed those." So my goal is to breed like the juraparis and stuff, and I want to quarantine them all the way, put them in the 800-gallon. That's kind of my plan there. And Dean brought back a couple of Corys, I think. So did Randy. I won't spoil what Joel brought back because he might be making videos of it. So if you go to any locations we'd already previously been, yeah. So that was one of the disappointments. The place last time where we caught these Brycon tetras, it kind of looked like big penguin tetras that were classified as a food fish, and I wasn't able to bring back. But that pond where, if you've been following me for a while, you heard me tell the story of like the locals would go and bathe and wash their laundry there. Well, over the last 2 years, they did some improvements, and so there was like, now there's like a garbage can there, and there's like almost like a little fire pit area, and then they dug this big trench from like one stream to the pond and then back out of the pond, right? Well, all these improvements, as we were told, have had an effect on the wildlife there, and so there is almost no fish left. And while great for the locals, like while we hiked in, right? You go in, you go through the town, and you get there. Town's probably too big of a word. I don't know what you call it, little village, I guess. That was probably more appropriate. But you finally get there, and they were super nice and gracious, and they offered us like, "Hey, you want to take your afternoon bath?" And we declined, but part of it is with that water flowing through there, and more people using it to kind of clean stuff. There was just less fish. There wasn't any, but there was less, and the water was not nearly as clear as it was because now it had water funneling in from the Amazon, right? That was bringing in very brown water. So we ended up doing no collecting or filming there. My one big goal was hopefully to get underwater and film that habitat better, but it didn't make sense. So part of that is, we went back to that area, and I was really hoping to get some underwater footage for you guys, and then we kind of saw the change, which is unfortunate, but part of it is you gotta really realize what these people are working with, and for me, it's always a trip in my mind, and I know there's lots of people probably in the chat that are much more well-traveled than I am, but seeing people that don't have electricity, and the floors are just dirt, and they have very few possessions. Like one time it was told to me that everything they own fits in a small backpack. That includes their clothes, everything, right? And so for them to have this like fresher water down there is a real big asset and benefit. So you can't really fault them for it. Everyone's got to make their way in the world, and but it's like, dang, that was a great place. We had kind of planned on doing it, to film it again, but we did catch Michael, one of the guides on the boat, did catch a few killifish that he wanted because he had a couple of females at home. It was a rivulus, and so he caught some extras, and he brought a trio. Like I think it brought 2 boys and a girl back, and so it wasn't 100% wasted, and there was good things too, right? So it was done before I woke up, so I didn't get it on video. Joel might have got it on video. I don't know if he went or not, if he was sick at that point, but so we went to that village the day before. It was kind of getting dark, right? So we weren't going to collect, and the lighting would have been terrible for trying to film underwater and all that anyway. So we get there, and then, but before we left the next day, the boat, like the main owner, I don't know what to call it, but the main guy, I guess, he runs all the medical trips and all that. He went and gave out like 40 or 50 pairs of like reading glasses, and I guess it's quite a trip to see, people that haven't had good vision for so long put them on, and now the elderly can see. They can read stuff and see things up close. And so one of the things they do, they buy like in bulk, right? I think if they buy like $200 worth or something, they get 400 pairs of these reading glasses. And so handed those out to people. And there was some other stuff too, like some coloring books. When he goes, I basically say him because he's putting all this together. But one of the goals when you go into a village like that is not just to go in and let's catch your fish and do your stuff and whatever, but to actually leave it kind of better than you found. And so donated lots of like crayons and markers and coloring books and some other learning materials to the like the school they have. I mean, I believe, if I remember Devin telling me correctly, they now have 8 kids. And so at 8 kids is where you start getting like some funding from like the Peruvian government. Like not a lot, but like you're at least recognized as like a school, even though you're in the jungle. And so you might get some resources. But something like books and crayons and all of that is, you got to remember something that we would get ready, like, oh, you got to go back to school, let's go shopping at Target or whatever it is, just does not exist at all for these people. And so, they'll use that pencil till it's too small to hold in your hand anymore. So it's I wish I would have seen that. I didn't get up early enough because it was really early. But that kind of stuff is nice to see and help fund in a roundabout way. Like the reason they do the trips is it helps fund the medical trips and things like that. So it's not just straight, for the hobby. Do I ever go to Brazil? I've never been. I wouldn't mind going, but I just haven't had someone that put a trip together yet. Yeah, my mom was asking me like, where are you gonna go next? Like, are you gonna go to the Congo? Are you gonna go here? And it's a crazy amount of work. I mean, Dean put in so much work to put this trip together. There's flights, there's COVID tests, there's paperwork, there's hotel rooms, there's trying to get everyone on the same page. Like, what do we want to try and even see while we're there? All of that stuff is a crazy amount of work. And so, I being that I'm fairly busy, I try to go with someone who's willing to do all of that work and then just support where I can of like, hey, I can put some more money towards it. I can do whatever I can do, but I don't have time to make sure all these pieces fall together because you gotta book taxis or ways to get from the airport to this airport and then from that airport to this hotel and then that hotel to the boat. And the boat, the MT Amazon Expeditions, they provide a lot of that, but there's a lot of back and forth of like, well, when are you going to land? What about this? What about this? What about this? And so having a point of contact is important. I've got 1 part per million ammonia in my tap water that I used to do water change. What would you say I can do to fix that? Move. No, 1 part per million ammonia in water. I was going to say I should do another video. I can't do another video. I'm so burnt out on videos. Watch some of the videos we have on water parameters, but everything gets diluted, right? So if you have 1 part per million ammonia, start with the video of like, should you even be doing water changes, right? And now let's assume that answer is yes, you have to do some because the plants are taking care of it. Now let's imagine you've got like a 55-gallon aquarium, right? So you got a 55-gallon aquarium. Well, how much water do we need to change? Let's say it's 20%, 10 gallons. Let's make this easier math here. So we're going to take out 10 gallons. Now we're going to put 10 gallons of water in, and that's going to bring in 1 part per million ammonia, right? So now that's going to get diluted by the 55 gallons. We're going to use 50 gallons and say maybe 5 gallons was displaced with decorations and gravel for easy math. So the fact that we're going to dilute it by 5 times, basically, right? Because we're going to add 4 parts water to 1 part new water, dilutes it, spreads that out over all 5, right? So now we have 0.2 ammonia in every 10 gallons of water. That's actually a pretty low amount, right? If you watch some of our ammonia videos, something like a 0.2, maybe you change a little bit of water to combat that, but if you have live plants and you have good filtration and things like that, it should consume that fairly quick. Now, if you weren't having the results you wanted, maybe you only change 5 gallons of water at a time in that 55-gallon tank, right? Now, you could set up a whole nother, maybe an aquarium or something like that, that just used ammonia absorbers or live plants to scrub that water clean. But if I had 1 part per million of ammonia in my water here, I would use it to my advantage, and that would be to help feed bacteria and my plants. And so I would just do more water changes at smaller amounts to keep it relatively less toxic. Now, you can use things like I'm on a well, so I don't need to use a dechlorinator. But if I had that problem, I'd probably still use a little bit of like Fritz Complete. You spray that in there, or you squirt that in there, and it's going to bind with the ammonia for about 24 hours. Now, by doing that, it makes it so it's less toxic for a finite time, 24 hours. The goal would hopefully be that your plants and bacteria break that down before 24 hours has passed, and there you go. And that's what kind of gets us through, because you might have 1 part per million ammonia in your water. This goes down like kind of the rabbit hole here, but then at that point, you also might have chlorine or chloramine in your water, in which that might break down into more ammonia. So you might actually have 1.5 or 2 parts per million ammonia in your water once you stack on the chlorinator and all of that, right? But most people deal with that all the time. Like a lot of people would have 1 part per million ammonia once they break the chloramine or chlorine bond, but the tank's just digested. So that's the long-winded answer of, at 1 part per million, work on a little system there that's gonna, I wouldn't do 50 gallon water changes, but I would do it in moderation, and I would only do it if you needed to do it, and just keep an eye on it and know, maybe I use a little bit extra dechlorinator, maybe I do a little bit of this or that. Yeah, a little bit of warm in here. Turn my AC on a little bit. So yeah, it's all water management, and people are afraid of stuff, and I'm not afraid of anything anymore. I always just look at it like there's pretty much a solution. There's pretty much a solution to everything in the aquarium world now. So it's purely finding it and applying it. And it changes the way you keep fish, but it doesn't prevent you from keeping fish. Do you know if you were selling Easy Iron or Easy Green on Canada Amazon? I can't find it anymore, but not sure if it was a third-party seller. So there was a third-party seller reselling it at an inflated price, and I think legally I can't even stop them from doing that. But we are selling Easy Green on Amazon Canada. The problem we have is that they limit how much we can send. And so for us, I think our limit, with COVID and all these crazy things going on, there's this hard limit that we have, and it's like 238 bottles. Well, 238 bottles lasts us about 4 days. The problem is Amazon's intake system won't let you print the barcodes and all that stuff to send more until you've sold some, right? Well, if 268 or whatever our limit is lasts 4 days, obviously if we sold 1 day worth and we sold, let's say it's 50 of them, we could then send 50, but the shipping is so inefficient that we're already like not making money, we'd just be losing tons of money. So we kind of have to wait, and so there's these like lulls of like in stock, out of stock for 7 days, in stock for 4 days, out of stock for 7 days. And it's very frustrating. We haven't been able to get a hold of anyone at Amazon to help remedy this situation. There's probably also a lag because we were all in Peru basically. Root tabs. Easy root tabs. Yeah, even our root tabs. So like right now, it basically looks like we have nothing on there, and yeah, it's how do I explain that? We're basically being crushed by our own success. Like when I posted on the community page, it sold out that day, which is on one hand great if we were making money. we're mostly just trying to keep some access to people, and we're really hoping. The answer for everything right now is still COVID. Like, oh, how come you don't have a thing? COVID. Oh, why is this happening? COVID. And that goes for a lot of our suppliers. And we have 2 cargo containers landing this coming up week, which will be good because there'll be some new products on there, which we could use. We need sales to swing back up now because we're coming out of summer and we've had a low summer, if you will. So that'll be good. There's some new products. We're sold out of the easy feeders, and I don't know if we'll have any of those on these boats because last I was hearing about it, we couldn't get the microchips. Just like cars can't get the microchips, we're in the same boat trying to get microchips. So on one hand, those feeders are amazing and technology is great. On the other hand, when you're out of microchips, not a lot we can do about that. So we're scrambling. We're still, the good news for our company is we have more in stock than we've ever had. Because we've just really taken everything into our own control. And so, maybe we have 10 products that are out of stock right now, but if you rewind 2 years ago, it would have been 20 to 30 products out of stock because we were relying on a lot of other vendors. And even still, a lot of stuff we're out of stock on, it's because we're relying on a vendor and they're not, treating the supply chain the same way we are, where we're trying to get years ahead. So, I think literally at the moment we have 50,000 sponge filters roughly, and we've got another 40-foot cargo container landing of them, which might be another like 30,000 plus of them, which 80,000 sponge filters is an absurd amount. But with ports shutting down and all these kind of different things happening, the only thing that I really think can hurt us at this point is not having anything to sell. Like obviously you guys support us, which is amazing, but if I've got nothing to sell you guys, I've got, it weighs heavy on me at least. I've got 35 employees counting on Aquariumcoop for their livelihood. You see some of them, like you saw Robert, you see, Jimmy, you see me, but there's all these other people that are very important to the system. Like you see Candy here. All of us rely on all of us working together, and then us working together with the suppliers to make sure that we can actually ship you guys a product. Because if one of those parts breaks down, if we have bad customer service, we stop selling stuff. If we don't have product to sell, we stop selling stuff. If I stop doing videos and live streams and that kind of stuff, we stop selling stuff. We stop developing new products, we stop selling stuff. So we got to get all of it going, and all of it's got to keep going. And about the only thing that really throws the monkey wrench in is not having product to sell. And we've had that happen before, with Fluval and other vendors and things like that. So we've taken as much as we can into our own hands to prevent that, so that we don't have as much, or maybe me, I don't have as much anxiety of like, oh my gosh, we're out of this and that, nobody's buying anything. And on average, people will wait till we have everything in stock. So if you're out of one thing, now they're ordering nothing. So it's a double-edged sword. Why can't Aqua Huna ship fish here in Washington State? They don't ship fish in Washington State because they would lose all of their store vendors. So they supply all of Washington. They used to supply Walmarts too. They supply like all of Alaska, and they ship other parts of the country, but they have a delivery route in Washington State. And there's quite a few stores in Washington State. And basically, the way it works is stores have no incentive to buy from them if you're also going to sell them cheaper online to the customer. So I'll use our store as a scapegoat here, so that way I don't call anybody else out. But I think our neon tetras are like, I don't know, maybe they're $3. I don't even know what they are. They might be $2.49 still, whatever it is, right? Let's say they're $3. And if we go to Aqua Huna's website, maybe I could do that. Aqua Huna. And let's look up neon tetras. All right, this will be a good example to make me look bad. Oh, what is this? Oh, I know why, because my thing broke. Gosh dang it. All right, give me a second. Because I had to restart because of a glitch earlier. Here we go. All right. So here we have Neon Tetras, right? And you get a 14 pack for $25. So what is that? That's less than $2 each. And then you have to add in shipping, which they have really cheap shipping, which is like 15 bucks, right? And if you use our code, Aquariumcoop, at checkout, you save 5%. But let's say they average out to $2 each, right? So Aqua Huna is $2 each, our store is $3 each. Now at our store, we'll have gotten them from Aqua Huna. We might actually buy them from someone else. We probably buy from both right now because even fish are limited. Like a lot of wholesalers go, well, you can only buy 50. It's like, well, we sell 50 a day. Like that's not gonna. So we have to buy from a lot of sources. Anyway, so let's say we get 50, Neon Tetras from Aqua Huna, and we bring them into our store. We then apply meds to them, right? And we're quarantining them, and we're making sure they're healthy, and we're feeding them live baby brine twice a day. We're doing all that stuff so that they are as robust and as healthy as they can be before they hit the retail sales floor, right? But with that quarantine, the meds, the employee time, seeing Robert, take care of them and other employees and feeding them brine twice a day, that basically means we got to sell them for $3, right? A lot of people would think they're going to get the same thing of like, Corey buys his fish from Aqua Huna and therefore I'm going to get the same fish. And they don't realize that we put in a crazy amount of work, and that's why it would be $3. And maybe the analogy I can give is, so maybe you eat at a restaurant, right? You're going to have pizza. But maybe the pizza place buys their flour in bulk from, they wouldn't, but I'm just going to say from like a cash and carry or a Costco. Just because you can go get that flour there doesn't mean you can make the same pizza. And that's kind of the same way with fish. Right? Now, you might have some other stores that, which we do have competitors, some of them don't quarantine at all or do any of that stuff, in which case it would really make sense to buy from Aqua Huna as opposed to them, right? And so that's really where if your source is selling it online for a cheaper price, you no longer can make money. Why would you buy from them, right? It would be no different than if our manufacturers of our products were selling them online out from underneath us while we did the R&D work, we put everything together, we tested it all, and then it gets sold, right? Which that made me think about sponge filters. There's a funny thing that's happening that I'll show you guys. Let me see if I can find it. I thought it was funny. Let's see here if it pulls it up. Other website, all right. Come on. Here it is. So I think the hobbyist effect has finally had its impact on the major brands. I like to think that we had a good part in that because I love sponge filters to death, but finally a PetSmart is selling a sponge filter. Now what I find funny is it's basically the exact replica of like the Hikari sponges, Aquatop sponges, right? But you can see the price. This small sponge filter is $15. Their large sponge filters, $20. So they've completely lost touch with what this thing should cost. Like our large, that would be this size, we sell for I think $9.99, maybe $10.99. There definitely prices are shifting a little bit from COVID and that kind of stuff, but it looks to be the same design of like can't put an air stone in it. I haven't bought one, so it could be different. But it is the fine foam. And I thought it was funny that, big box stores finally catching up to the consumer demands. Like, you guys have known it. Like, why can't I just go in and buy a sponge filter at a retail store like that? So I'm happy because I think it'll work out well for a lot of people of like more people are going to get sponge filters, which I think it's a great filtration type, especially for new people to the hobby. Two, it'll probably be good for us in that one, they're expensive, so people will probably buy some more from us. But two, our sponge filter I think is legitimately better, and so people are more likely to graduate from something like that to ours possibly. But I just thought it was funny, this like the amount of, in my opinion, overpricedness that is. It's like, whew. And I realize that they run a different game, right? They've got coupons and sales, and they're going to do all of that kind of stuff to make it work. You know, and I have no doubt that in 6 months it'll be like, oh my gosh, you can get sponge filters for like 12 cents because you stacked these two coupons, and they're doing $1 per gallon sale, and this is going on. So I'm sure I'll have that to deal with, but I just thought it was funny that the tide has shifted enough in the industry of someone's going, oh, we got to bring in sponge filters. What do you think of Irene's How to Balance a Planet Tank? She really went into detail, and it's amazing. I don't even know if I've watched the video yet. Then the reason I say that is, I remember the last video I watched or proofed was plants melting. Is it on her channel? Let me see. 5 things I wish I knew about aquascaping. Is it? I don't think it's on our channel. I'm so out of touch because I've been out of the country. It's hard for me to keep straight of like what was a video, what's a blog article, because I proofed like 4 blog articles. Yeah, we put out the 5 ways to save melting aquarium plants. I don't know. I don't know if I've watched that video you're referring to or not. Irene's How to Balance a Planet Tank. Huh. I feel like I've read or seen, but I don't know. My brain is not keeping pace, I guess. Yep. Anyway. Danks Tanks became a member. All right, buddy. I'm way back in the chat. I'm going to catch up here, but I want to address something I read, and then I was going to jump forward a bit. Oh, here we go. This is the one. You've mentioned being burned out several times lately. Can we, as customers or fans, do anything to help? What do you want to see or do? There's probably nothing you guys can do. The biggest thing I would say is that I've just been in the same grind for like 8 years straight of like make a video every week, and we've like never missed a video. So I don't think there's a whole lot you can do. Part of it is it's my own search of like what videos would I enjoy making and have I not already done. That's the biggest thing. At this point we're at 1,000 videos, right? Because for many years we did 3 videos a week plus a live stream. And so now it's like, okay, well, we need to make videos. What videos we're going to make that we haven't already done that I also am passionate to make. Hey, Tadashi's here, my trainer. We start up again on Monday. We're getting close. So yeah, part of it is where do I have the motivation to make more videos, and part of it's taking a break, I think. So that's what I'm really trying to do, is I'm trying to get ahead and take a break so that I want to come back and make videos. And it's not that I don't ever want to make videos again. It's that if you under the stress of like it's got to be done, we got to get another video, got to do this, it's harder than waiting to like, oh, my fish are breeding, I'll make a whole video about that, instead of like trying to make something happen. So yeah, it's we've got quite a few videos made now, and like filming in Peru is different and fun, right? But part of being stuck at home with COVID going on and everything, and it's like, okay, it's me and a camera, and there's like no fish room tours to go do. It's only my own, right? But like the ALA event should be a good time to film. There's going to be the collecting part of it, which you guys can attend if you sign up for that. By the way, you should. There is the like farms to visit. There's a fish room we might visit that has like 200 aquariums. What else? We're going to tour the Extreme Fish Farm again because I've never been in person. And then there might be something actually at the actual event to film as well. So like something like that might be 4 or 5 weeks, and that's really what's missing from my life is that when you go to an event like Peru, we might come away with 4 or 5 videos, right? So I was gone for 2 weeks. I now have 4 or 5 videos that last for like 4 or 5 weeks. Then I have time to order up parts, get stuff together, put the video together, film it on a day you feel like filming and everything's lining up and the store's not on fire and there's nothing going on. I'm not, like this week, for instance, if I didn't have content available, right? In a normal world, tomorrow I would live stream, which I'm doing it today. So I would live stream tomorrow. Monday, I work out, right, with Tadashi. I have meetings all day, so there's no filming that day. Tuesday, right? Tuesday, I have a meeting set, and maybe there could be filming, but the reality is I'm going to be cleaning the fish room from all the fish I unloaded, bringing back, so Tuesday's out. Wednesday, it's back to another workout, and then it's proofing blog articles, video, right? So I got to proof the video that comes out that week, the thumbnail and the title and all that. So like my main work gets gets caught up there. Now it's Thursday, right? So now, okay, Thursday, right? Thursday's got to be some time. Usually that's when I can actually start working on testing a product, right? So that kind of stuff, like the whole testing a product, what's going on with retail, what do we need to know about this? So then now it's Friday. Fridays are usually the day when I actually start going, okay, I could make a video today. That could happen. And so that's usually when I'll shoot videos, but then sometimes like, oh, I need to take a day off, or I need to go mow my lawn, I need to do some real life stuff. Because the big problem is these days are like 12-hour days. It's not just like, well, I work 8 hours and I had time to do tank maintenance and all that kind of stuff, right? So it's yeah. Delegate. Trust me, I delegate a lot. We just do, in my personal opinion, we do more than most other aquatic, well, I think more than any other aquatic company. We just, there's always stuff coming up. There's HR issues. You got 35 employees. You have, someone changed their bank account info and they're having problems. They're not getting paid, but they got to pay rent. And we need, Corey's got to issue a check to make sure that person can pay rent because, this is going wrong. And, oh, there's a fraud case over here. And, like every day there's fraud cases from people buying from us. And we have to submit stuff and we have to gather info and do all this stuff. So there's all that like non-glamorous stuff that has to get done. And yes, is Candy and Randy and Robert and all these people taking care of tons of this stuff, but for sure. But then there's things like, I had to be in on, before we went to Peru, right? We did an employee party where we took everyone out to a baseball game. We provided food and we bought Yeti water bottles and all that kind of stuff. So there's still all that day-to-day stuff that gets done. And it just leaves little time for doing the video stuff, which, and by the way, I also am burnt out of doing it. So it's not like, even if you gave me all week free next week, I probably wouldn't just film every day. It would probably be like, ooh, I relaxed. And then on that Friday, like, okay, I'm in the mood. Let's film 4 videos. It'd be great. So, yeah. I mean, I wouldn't worry about it. There's lots of people that can make videos, and you've seen that. You've seen Jimmy and Robert do it. You've seen Irene do it. You've seen Candy on camera. So we have the ability to make it. But the reality is, anything that doesn't have me in it doesn't do as well, and people complain. And it's not you guys. So that's the thing. So when you guys, what can we do as customers and fans? Probably nothing, because it's the other people that would complain, just like the kind of the fringe. I watch this channel. What is this garbage? How dare you? The same people that are being racist and doing all of that kind of stuff. And, everything weighs on everybody. There's been some people that have quit memberships because we're not putting out enough videos for the members only. And it's like, well, I do what I can, and we're not going to work out for everybody. So it's unfortunate, but, you know, at the end of the day, there's only so much time. And then you add in things like I know Rico stands here in the chat. I need to schedule out he wants to do an interview with me in a live stream. So that's like another thing, like, oh, maybe that Friday where I'm free, should I book that live stream? But then I'm not making a video. But it's all a bunch of complaining and doesn't make for good TV or anything. But that's why and where I'm at. You know, that's just, I was honestly filming a video yesterday, and some person, my neighbor, was beating down my door. So I had to stop filming and be like, what is going on out here? And it comes down to tree work, because we're having tree work done, and he's got a stump grinder and he can grind the stumps, and trying to find someone to put in the cargo container so we can store the product that's coming in. That's not happening fast enough, so we have 2 cargo containers. We're barely going to be able to fit it. All of those normal things that happen. So, yeah. See, this is where, like, fans love to stand up. You're like, Candy's video has over 48K views. That is good, and I really like that video. So I myself think that's a great video. The problem is our average video, so just our average, and that includes those types of videos, includes every type of video we do, our average is 62K. You know, so, and that's in the first 7 days, right? So it just, on average, the people that watch this channel, which most of them are not even subscribers, more people watch the channel that aren't even subscribed, not members, just not even subscribed, choose not to watch that video. And so, as a business standpoint, right, it's like, okay, well, we should focus on other things, basically. And there's, you know, there is filler videos. Like, if we look at what we got going on here, so you've got Candy, and you've got the store tour, you've got Irene, you've got, like, I actually told Jimmy yesterday, I think this is the best video he's ever done with Robert right here. I honestly think it's the best video that's ever been done on our channel. But it will struggle because it's not the right content that people want. It doesn't apply to them. If you're living in another country, you can never come to our store, and it's not about fish, really. I mean, there is fish stuff in there, but it's not like, oh, how to breed something or do something, right? And then you kind of come down to like 20 questions. This is just a filler video of, like, we shot, that was like the 4th or 5th video on that day that we filmed, to buy us time because I knew I had to go to Peru. Like, okay, we got to build up videos. So we shot this video and this video and this video all on the same day, and this video, right? So these 4 videos all got shot in the same day, but you can see here 50K, right? 89K, 179K, 149K, right? 75K for just doing a fish room tour. And so that's where, from a business standpoint, do you try to maximize views so that you can get customers and things like that? Or do you try and manage burnout and you leverage the employees who are great on camera and they have great stories to tell? And, like, I honestly think that, you know, like Candy's video and Robert's video and things like that have more weight long term, because you guys get to know the employees and who I'm hiring and who, you know, who you're interacting with at the store. You know, so if you're asking something at the store, you'd be talking to Robert. If you're online, you're gonna be talking to Candy. And I actually think these videos matter much more than Dean and I doing 20 questions or another video with Dean and I. Right? And I still think Irene makes some of the best videos. I think she's the best aquarium YouTuber that's out there. But her videos don't resonate with our audience. And what does that mean? That means that on average, 40K views is way below average. But over time, the YouTube algorithm finds a different customer than what we have. So kind of not an aquarium co-op customer that might have a giant fish room and breeds a lot of fish and all that and following us. Instead, it finds, oh, look at this person out over here that only has 1 aquarium. And then over time, her videos end up doing very well because they just reach a different crowd. And from a business standpoint, that's actually better, reaching new audiences and that kind of stuff. And I think she's really well suited to be a teacher. So I like that. But on one hand, it didn't make sense to replace my videos with her videos, right? And you can see here, like, these are some of the videos, you know, when you look at, like, Robert's video and Candy's video and that kind of stuff, where they might top out at 75K. You've got like, oh, fish store tour with 330,000 views, top 10 with 124K. You know, like we couldn't predicted that learning how to gravel vac would be at 848,000 people have watched this, right? And then you've got this whole crazy thing with the algorithm, nerdy, you know, fish questions live stream. 97,000 people have watched that one, 61K here. And then we've tried like, oh, Aquarium Nerd Central, 69K. But, you know, we made it to Newsweek. I think that's like a huge deal actually. And it's like, oh, only 30,000, right? So there's all this variance and all of that. And the problem is you can have a video that takes an insane amount of time, get no views. Like Jimmy spent more time on this Robert video than like any other video in the past like few months, and it probably will get less views. Whereas, you know, like doing a top 10 is the least amount of work we do, because it's kind of me just saying my knowledge, and then we put some B-roll over it, and so it's not directly work into, you know, compensation, you know, views or compensation basically. So, but yes, we you know, I definitely want to decentralize me. So the thing that I worry about is, what if I had come down with COVID, or I did get hurt, injured, or whatever in Peru, and we come back and all of a sudden there's no videos, right? So trying to decentralize is very important, because having one key person in a position is dangerous for a business. So that's why, and I identified this years ago. That's why we brought Irene on a long time ago, and we've, you know, had Jimmy and Robert doing different videos and things like that. And we're all looking for, you know, what works, you know, because the other thing too is, you guys wouldn't, well, you probably don't think about it, is that to film that video with Robert and Candy, it's basically an entire 1 to 2 days worth of work for them. So you take them out of their normal job and you're like, hey, you need to get everything ready for filming. We need to come and film. We're going to need to come back and film any B-roll parts and anything else I need. So it's like a 2 to 3 day interruption in people's lives to pull off a lot of these videos. So, you know, for an 8-minute section of like, hey, that was all right. So we're always working on it. And, you know, like an unboxing, people say they love it, but they don't get that many views, and the work is crazy. So you got to film it one day, you have to come back after they've colored up, get all the B-roll, you have to tag it all, you have to do all that. It takes a full week basically of Jimmy's time to do it. So, and they don't have any staying power. So once an unboxing comes out, people watch for that week. 2 months later, no one's watching it at all. Whereas like something educational, like how to net fish or do whatever, right? That sticks around forever. Someone said some videos with Thatch would be good. She's been on the channel quite a bit actually. Not lately, but like her 3-gallon nano tank, she's done a thing on that. She's done some other stuff. But yes, it is in our wheelhouse, if you will, to incorporate more people and just get more things going. And that's really, I mean, I guess that's the thing you guys could do, is give other people a chance. You know, some of these people like Robert and Thatch, they've been working for me for years, and they're very, very, very knowledgeable, and they've gleaned a lot of knowledge from me and brought their own, and so their videos, like their knowledge is going to be great. So, you know, giving them a chance, I would say, just, you know, just that, yeah, it gives me a break, allows me to come back with more energy, and gets the information out there still. And they, you know, they're passionate about some things that I'm not, which is good because that rounds it out. So, can you keep blind cave tetras with long fin bristle nose? And what's my opinion? It's a cool fish. They kind of look like zombies. The problem with the blind cave tetra is, since they can't see, they kind of feel everything with their mouth. And longfin stuff, they can chew on that a little bit. But being that the bristlenose are more down low and not in the middle, it might work out okay. Hopefully you have multiple aquariums, and if it wasn't kind of working out, you could move them. Have I looked at doing short clips and posting them to TikTok or any other platform like that? So personally, I despise TikTok and Instagram with every fiber of my being. I consider it to be the undoing of society, if we're being honest. So have I considered it? Yes, because it's my job as a marketer to be like, should we get into that market? What do we think is our return? Should we hire people? Should we do this? Should we do that? And my big thing is, like, as long as we're paying the bills and everyone gets paid and has their job and everything, from that point on, I want to educate and try to make meaningful stuff. That doesn't mean that every time I'm at the plate, I'm going to hit a home run, but I don't want to put myself knowing that, like, I'm going to go to the plate and just try to walk, like, just try to get on base, right? And that's what I kind of feel like some of the shorter form stuff. And there are people that can do very amazing things with short form content on TikTok and Instagram, but the amount of fraud going on is insane and what I don't want to be a part of. And if it's not your business to be a part of that, like, most people wouldn't know that the way to grow on Instagram, like, we have 100,000 followers and it's taken us a long time to get that. But I could buy another 100,000 followers for $10,000 basically in the next week. And it's all legal, by the way. It's not like, oh, well, that would, you get in trouble for that. Like, no. There's, like, the underbelly of a lot of these platforms are, like, you can basically pay. So the way it works, I'll just break it down real quick. You get someone who has a naturally big following, and I'm going to pick a celebrity that I don't know to be doing this. I'm not calling them out. I'm just using them as an example, right? Because there are celebrities that well known that do this. But let's say you take a Will Smith, and let's say he's got 80 million on TikTok. I don't know what they got, right? Or Instagram. They got 80 million. You then go, all right, Will Smith, we will pay you, right? We will pay you $100,000 to do this contest with your fans. And the contest, you're going to give away a Tesla, you're going to give away all these PS5s, all this great stuff to your people. They're going to love it, right? However, you have to make it so that the people you follow on Instagram, we're going to sell those spots. And you can buy a spot for $10,000. So I could say, hey, this other marketing firm, I give them $10,000. They put Aquariumcoop, is now followed by Will Smith. He now runs the competition, or the giveaway. And the giveaway states that to win these prizes, you have to follow everyone that I'm following. So maybe there's 21 names, right? And they got $210,000 because each person paid $10,000, right? They give Will Smith $100,000. They buy a Tesla for, let's say, $50,000, and they spend another $10,000 on PS5s and other iPads and giveaways, right? They made $40,000 for a week's worth of work, right? And now Aquariumcoop and the other 20-some companies would now have 100,000 more followers. So, and there's lots of studies, you can look at this on YouTube, where, at this point they consider like 7 out of every 10 accounts, even on Instagram and TikTok, to be not even a true account. It's just bots and stuff like that. And so, and I'm sure there's some of this to a degree on YouTube as well. But what I like to focus on is the subscribers and the members and the actual communication and stuff that's going on, and not so much, like when I posted something about, on my personal Instagram while I was in Peru, right? Just because I'm just trying to update, like, some fans and my family, really. But then, half the DM, or not DMs, but the comments on there are like, hey, let us know if you want to collaborate with us. We're a watch brand. We're a luggage brand. We're this, we're that. That doesn't happen on YouTube. You get actual people. And so I go where the people are, but there are people on TikTok, on Snapchat, on all these short form contents that do amazing things that I could never do and are really good at what they do. I'm just not sure it's worth me doing that to try and get into that rat race when I know I've got a good thing going over here, and I can just keep playing in this. So That being said, truth, 100% disclosure here. We will be putting out some shorts on YouTube, and they're going to be commercials. So X amount of people are going to hate that. That's fine. But, I was doing kind of a marketing audit, and the last time that we marketed a product correctly has been like 2 years before COVID. We basically kind of say, hey, we've got a new thing, and we put it in a live stream. We go, hey, we've got a new thing, right? But it's been over a year since we ever posted anything. We have, we're closing on 400,000 people on Facebook. And it's been over a year since we've ever said, like, by the way, we have a retail store. And by the way, we have an online store, right? And so we're gonna make some shorts. Like one of the ones I asked, I wanted Dean to make a 1-minute video on why he likes the brine shrimp that we do. And so we'll put that out. You guys will get a notification. Half of you will be angry. That's fine. But then we'll also use that on Instagram. We'll use it on Facebook and things like that to just let people be aware that we have that product. And maybe they might learn a thing or two about it if you already are using it. And Easy Green and other stuff. And that's going to be our marketing, basically. I want to try it is, maybe once a week there's going to be a video and like, well, it's all about catappa leaves. You just want us to buy catappa leaves. That's 100% true. And then it allows me to focus in the videos of like, hey, just make a video about education. And we already have videos that do the marketing. Zenzo's going to do one all about memberships. We'd like to have more members. We think that education is important. So we'll hopefully pick up more people. Anyone know of, an Aquashella type event in Los Angeles? I don't. The closest thing I can think of is the Family Pet Expo. Let's see if they still do it. Do they still do it? Which I love that event, by the way. Is it America's Family Pet Expo? That might be it. Let's see. They did a couple of them in Washington. I really liked it because I'm a fish guy, but seeing exotic birds and dogs and cats and other animals was fun too. So it's a whole thing, and it's really meant to be. Let's see if I can find it here. I'll share it with you guys if I can find it. I'm pretty sure I don't know where in California they do it, but so here it is. It's the Pet XPOOC, Orange County, I think. So I think it's Pet Expo OC. I think they do it in Orange County. And you can adopt some stuff there. They've got aquatics going on. When I was working it, I worked it with Hikari, and I did the aquatic touch tank. So the saltwater touch tank was really cool to have cleaner shrimp and do all that and that kind of stuff. And they do Hikari does a betta toss now, where basically if you're there and you want a betta, you can basically walk home with one, and it kind of gets you started. And I think it's like $1 to throw the ping pong ball or something, and then all the benefits go to pets in the classroom. So, but this is the Pet Expo is what the aquatic experience became, right? This became the aquatic experience, and then they end up getting rid of the aquatic experience, but they still do this event because it does really well in California, right? So they've got cats and dogs and reptiles and other stuff. And it's just a fun thing where you could actually take your kids and a spouse that maybe is not fish crazy, and they might find other stuff to look at. It's kind of like going to a zoo almost, where you're just like seeing a bunch of crazy stuff. So if you're in California, and it's not as like there's a bunch of fish stuff there, but it's not like a whole fish only event. So just know that there's gonna be stuff to see, but it's not the same level of a full-on aquatic convention, right? It's more meant to go like kind of a day. You kind of take the family. You might go out to eat afterwards, something like that. And there's you can see a lot of like, the aquascaping contest, the kids contest. Both those happen at Aquatic Experience. So, all right. How much is Dean charging for his online fry system talk? I missed our clubs and wondering if I could afford it. I don't think he's charging for it at all. He just does it for clubs. And if we have someone back out, we'll probably have him give a talk like that for us. So like, let's say that today, and we've got a talk happening in about 45 minutes. So become a member if you haven't. But let's say he came down with an illness and couldn't speak today. We'd be like, Dean, you're up. We gotta fill in here. Something happened, and so we're kind of saving his talks for that because we can basically dial a Dean at any point. Yeah. So someone was asking what's the tours and stuff at the ALA event, which we are going to the ALA. If you want to kind of do a little meet and greet, if you're a member, we're still working on it, but if you're a member, we haven't signed on the dotted line, but we're getting a room there for Friday night to do maybe like pizza and soda and hang out and talk. Dean's coming. So it'll be Dean, myself, Zenzo, Jimmy, and possibly my wife. I need to ask my wife. So Dorcula, let me know in text now, or after this, I need to ask you if you want to go so we can book the extra hotel room and all that. Because otherwise, that sounds weird. Otherwise, I would room with one of my employees, whereas if my wife's coming, obviously, we'll share a room, but that bumps it to 5 people, which is a third hotel room, which is not the point of it. But anyway, the tours, or the schedule, if you will, let's see, Thursday. So we're going to go in, we're going to land like Wednesday night. But at 9:30 a.m., you get ready to go visit fish farms, the discus hatchery, and an outdoor aquarium store. I think I've been to all of these before. My guess is this is going to be Gabe's discus. We did a tour of there, right? And then this fish farm, I may not have been to that yet, but the outdoor store I think is Neighborhood Aquarium, I think. Right? And then you get back at the end of the day at 5 p.m. That's that Thursday. And then you've got, this is a good talk to go to, by the way. Chuck Davis is really funny. And he's going to be talking about collecting in South Florida. Now, that will matter. And then later you've got to basically go get drunk and drink a bunch and sing songs and do all that crazy stuff with all the other fish nerds in the hotel. That's what happens at the hospitality social. Which I typically walk in for a few minutes, realize everyone's drinking a bunch, I don't drink, it's awkward, and then I go to sleep. Friday. 9:30, assemble for another field trip. We're going to collect in South Florida. Hey, that talk would directly affect this. Each one of these days, I think, costs like $35 to add on or something. And there's limited spots, by the way. So, they got to rent vans and all of that. So there might only be like, only 50 people can do this. You're out till 4 because you've been collecting all day. This was fun. Like last time I went, which is like 8 years ago, we were out collecting, and like the owner of ZoomEd was out collecting. I'll be collecting. You'll be filming, having some fun, doing all that. And then you've got at 5:30 kind of a pizza and wing party. The expo room opens, right? So that's going to be probably where you can look at all the rare live bears and that kind of stuff. And at some point in here, I would think, is somewhere between that 5:30ish and on is where we'll have that room and have pizza and drinks as in like sodas, not alcoholic. And then maybe we'll break loose to go look at this talk, or maybe some other people will. I don't know how that'll go. There's a goodie at auction, so if you're looking for some rare fish, that's kind of fun. Again, hospitality suite. Saturday is the main event where you'll have a lot of talks. Carl Trochu, he's got some of the best fish I've ever seen. I'll probably sneak away, from our booth. I think we're sharing a booth with Extreme. So at 11 a.m., if you're like, "Where's Corey? This is BS, he's not here," I'll probably be in this talk. Then there's a lunch break. My guess, and this is just a guess, I don't know this to be a fact, my guess is at some point we'll find a place to walk across the street, go get lunch. Any fans or anyone that wants to hang out is welcome to come with us, but we're not facilitating that. What if the whole convention goes across the street to a McDonald's? It's like, oh my gosh, lines forever in a day, right? Then you've got a talk on mollies. You've got one on new stuff for your hobby. You've got Les Wilson. He's one of the owners of Cobalt, talking about nutrition and lighting. You've got this kind of dinner and fundraiser event. So I think the fundraiser is some rare fish that you bid on them, silent auction, and then all the money goes. I think it goes for the study group posters. So the student poster presentation. is usually they got sponsored to do some research in the field about fish, and it comes from this fund, I believe. So it's kind of cool to just see that kind of stuff correlate. Then you've got the buffet banquet. You do have to. This is usually like $35 or something, and usually there's a speaker. So Craig Watson. I don't know this person, but he's the speaker, and that's 7:30 till probably 9:30. You get catered food, which can be hit or miss based on the event. Sometimes it's amazing. Sometimes like oof, a little rough. And then again, the social. Then they got the big auction on Sunday. So you can buy lots of fish. I don't think we fly out till Monday night because on Monday we're going to do some more filming. But yeah, so we'll be there. I think for most people at minimum it's probably a 3-day event, and you fly out maybe late Sunday or early Sunday. I've flown out early Sunday a lot of times, but it's definitely, this is a smaller event. I want you guys to know that it's not going to be like Aqua Shell or anything like that where there's 7,000 people. No, it's going to be like 300 to 500 people, maybe 1,000. I don't know, right? But it's not going to be that scale. So it means a lot more one-on-one time with other members and fans and speakers and that kind of stuff. And so I like that smaller setting instead of, think of it like you go to a concert and there's like, oh, there's 200 people in the audience and you might get to meet the people you want to talk to versus like, oh, there's 20,000 people at this arena. Like, there's zero chance, right? So, yeah, it'll be a long weekend for all of us because we'll be doing double duty after a lot of those events. We might go film and do other things. So, yeah, it'll be fun though. And I know that I think like Fish Tank Barn's already coming. I think Chattanooga Ed might be coming. Some other people said they were coming. So, I think it'll be fun, and if we get all our ducks in a row, which Zenzo, if you're listening, which he might be already prepping with Eric, we want to get like some name tags and stuff, so you can say like, oh, you're a member, and just so we know like, oh, that's Mr. Ed's Aquatics, because people will be like, I'm Steve, and I'm like, I don't know who you are, Steve, and then it's like, oh, Barbara Jackson, like Barbara Jackson has the same name online and in person, real easy, so. Can I tell you what's up with your flower horn? She has her tube. She has her tube for about 4 months now. She is thick and she has laid eggs before 3 years old. Yeah, I mean, flower horns can start laying at like a year. It doesn't have to be 3 years old. Before 3 years old. I think she's just looking for a mate. I mean, a lot of times they'll lay eggs and without a mate, they just don't do anything. Gridlock with a $49 super chat. I really hope you're a member, because that you just bought yourself like, is that a month? No, you almost bought yourself a year worth of membership right there. So don't miss the talk right after this. Do I think there'll be another aquatic experience? I don't. I don't think there'll be another aquatic experience. I think it'll get rebranded or repackaged or changed in some way, and we'll, give it a year, probably 2 years. Right now, no one's going to launch anything new with COVID. Like even we're gun shy because like we're going to do a local event here in the beginning of October, and then we've got the ALA, right? But COVID could change things, and we just don't know what's occupancy going to be like. Our masks require, our vaccinations require, all this stuff. Like Zenzo called like our state people and like, what's it going to look like? And their honest answer is, we don't know. So imagine you're trying to book like an event that is, going to set you back $100,000 to set up, and then like, oh, will they allow us to cancel? Will they allow us to reschedule? A lot of these events are just going, oof, let's just wait till things calm down, and then we can go back to it. Gridlock now's a member. Please, if you're ever going to donate money and do that kind of stuff, by all means, for sure, make sure you're getting that membership and that kind of stuff first, because at least then you get some stuff back, right? That like we love the money, we love selling you guys stuff, we love all that because that's what makes what we do possible. But we also want to get you the most we can for your money. So, let's see here. I missed the message, but George Farmer's hanging out. Howdy, George. What's the minimum tank size for a 5-inch red devil? I've got a 75-gallon tank. Will it be to live there? Wait, will it be able to live in there with another 5-inch red devil? That gets down to like maybe personality conflict. So if you were at my store, I would tell you, like, do you need 2 red devils in the same tank? Like, that just seems like it's going to be asking for trouble. Now, if you're trying to breed them, that's one thing. You know, what I would do if I was really going to go down that path and I had time to spend with you at the store, I would say, okay, here's what we're going to do. We're going to set up a divider. We're going to go get some lighting diffuser, egg crate stuff. We're going to put that divider in, and we're going to secure it. We're going to see how do they interact between the two. And after a week or two, if they're doing well, maybe we'll take it out and they will cohabitate. If they won't, they hate each other. But yeah, boy and girl, that's actually how you can breed a lot of the aggressive species. She'll lay eggs basically on that divider and right down the ground. He will fertilize them from the other side, and then you might be able to raise them up if that's your goal. But you know, 2 fish is always difficult because they only take their aggression out on one other fish. So if you had a larger aquarium and some other things, like maybe some silver dollars of decent size or something to kind of spread that aggression around and tone it down, it might work out for you. Dira with the flower horn said, I meant her egg tube is down for about 4 months. The male is with her. She is 3 years old. Is she egg bound? That's hard to know. You know, sometimes you're just feeding really heavy. I think he said up above she was laying eggs. So if she's laying eggs, she's not egg bound. But usually if they're egg bound, you'll see health kind of deteriorating and stuff like that. For a lot of times, flower horns are sterile, the males. But you'll still get eggs laid from the females. I don't know. I myself haven't done a whole lot of like flower horn breeding and looking into the best practices there. So I'm not a great person to be offering the info on that. What's my minimum tank size for black or blue rams? If you're just breed them, minimum's 5 gallon. I personally like a 20 high. I just don't like keeping tanks much less than 20 highs. I'll do 10s every once in a while if I'm really just in breeding mode. If I want to observe and enjoy, that's when I do 20s and up. Any chance we can get the co-op hats in Canada? Only if we could get like Teespring or something to do it, which I think they might. But our hats, they take a lot of, they're expensive to get embroidered and do all that stuff. So there's not a lot of meat left on the bone to actually make a profit when we sell them, which usually translates to we'd just be losing money, unfortunately, in Canada. Which we do all that on some things, but we can't do it all. So. But there might be a way to get you a hat somehow. I like hats because people wear them all the time, and you know, I was a hat guy for a lot of my life. Always wore the same hat, so I know what it's like to have a good hat you like. What's the best way to lower? What's the best way? Yeah, to lower nitrates in a heavily stocked African cichlid tank? Use live plants, even if it's just pothos growing out of the top. But a lot of things like bulbitis, anubias, java ferns, they'll all help you. In addition to water changes, obviously, manage that. Yes, so people are talking about paying more monthly for the subscription. If you sign up with your iPhone through the app and you're like, oh, I'm going to become a member, they charge you more than the $4.99 because YouTube has to pay a percentage of that to Apple. Now, if you go on a desktop computer or you pull up a browser like Chrome and you join from there, it should only be the $4.99. So it's some work because you got to undo being a member, go into your desktop or something like that, then resubscribe. But you will save that $2 a month or whatever, that's just free money to save. So you should do it that way, especially if you're going to be a member for the rest of your life. Let's see. Fish God made it to a live stream for once. Well, finally, we've been waiting for you, Fish God. How about those shirts we saw you wearing in Peru? So the problem is, one of shirts like that, those shirts cost us like $50-some a piece. Because we had to buy the shirt, then we have to get it embroidered. Now, is there a chance at some point we go, hey, let's make button-up Aquarium Co-op shirts? Sure. But that's a whole another product launch of like, what shirt are we going to use? Who's going to embroider them? The sizing, is it true to sizing? The washing of it, how does it hold up, right? So, yeah. Can we get some trucker hats? I think we have trucker hats, right? I'll show you in a second, but Ozzy says, I don't want to lose your emoji. So when you turn off memberships, you don't lose it. It just stops accruing. So what happens, like, to the best of my knowledge, by the way, and I've seen people do this, but you should be able to unsubscribe, and it goes, hey, you've been a member for a year, right? And then you sign up on the desktop, because it's the same account, and then it goes, oh yeah, you're paying again. And so you accrue time again. So you shouldn't lose any of your status. Let's see here. Oh yeah, so we have the snapback hats. Like, we have one or two of them, and we had it because people with ponytails were requesting them. So I think that's what qualifies as a trucker hat. I don't know. All right. What was the other thing I just saw? I don't know. Where do you see the hobby going as we slowly come out of human malware? It's funny. I think there's going to be a decline in the hobby. I think people are going to get back to like, I just want to do anything except for be in my house. And then we'll come back to it'll be fine. The hobby, I think, always kind of goes up and down. It's seasonal. But I think the hobby's still growing, which is good. Any representation, co-op representation at the Keystone Clash? I need to look into it again. I don't think so. I mean, we're a platinum sponsor or whatever for the Keystone Clash. We're their highest level, Keystone. Because they reached out and were like, hey, do you guys want to sponsor us? And I was like, sure, that sounds awesome. But let me see here if I can see when it is. September 24th to 26th. Like, jeepers, that's a month from now. I'm trying not to travel that much. Trying not to. So I say it's probably unlikely. Let's see if we're on there yet. This year's sponsors. Let's see. Are we on there? Huh. Looks like they're behind on their sponsorship thing. This is like my number one pet peeve with clubs and events and this kind of stuff. And like Aquashella, that kind of stuff too, where it's like, if you're going to run an event, you got to stay on top of your stuff. Like, there's nothing here. I know we gave them like I want to say it was like $1,000 or something. But, this year's, so it was under this year's sponsors. That's where we should be. But I realize it's always like volunteers' time and that kind of stuff. But it's so important to be like Johnny on the spot with that kind of stuff. Like with Aquashella, one of my biggest criticisms is it's like, hey, you guys should come to, like, well, let me do the test. Like, this is only gonna get me in trouble, but I like calling people out. Let me see if I'm gonna be right today or not. So we will go to Dallas. So let's see if they're on their game or not. So here we are, Aquashella Dallas, October 30th and 31st. Right? So tickets, hotel, vendors. Like, do we have a vendor list yet? Let's see. Not doing anything. Oh wait, here we go. So yeah, this is my biggest pet peeve. Like, if you're in my situation, right, you're going, okay, well, I would need to take time off work. I got to book a plane ticket. I got to book my hotel room. And you're making those decisions now. You're not going to wait until 10 minutes before you go, but you have no idea what's going to be there. Like, okay, well, who's speaking? Like, maybe we can see that, right? Oh, you can't. Like, it's this kind of stuff that just drives me absolutely nuts when you got to be ahead of this so that people can actually plan. That's what it comes down to, of like, okay, so wait, maybe this will sell on speakers here. Yeah, it's all to be determined, to be announced. Like, I don't, as a marketing guy, and I've had this conversation with Aquashella, is like, how can I want to go to an event like this and tell you guys about it when I've got nothing to tell you? Well, who's going to be there? I could tell you I would be, like, if I was going, which we're not. We're doing ALA, right? But and this is very good for fans. It's also good for it's also good for companies. Like, I made my decision because I know, oh, guess what? I know what I'm getting. I had to plan my event or where I was going to go. I'm going to go to the ALA. It's the week before, right? 21st to 24th, the week before Aquashella. And you've got the full schedule. So I can go, oh, what am I going to get out of this? What are my opportunities, right? And you're like, oh, shocking. They've got their sponsors up. Like, they've got their act together. And like, we've been in contact with Craig a bunch, which he's a fan of the channel and all that, which makes things easy, right? But that's like, you kind of got to just be on it if you want people to show up, which it seems, it seems so obvious, and yet it's not getting done by so many events. So I'm irritated, because it's like, if I can't even see if I'd want to go, how could I possibly? Because they'll reach out and they'll be like, hey, you want to sponsor us? Hey, do you want to get people to come? And it's like, yeah, maybe, but what's going on? Oh, well, it'll unfold. Let me see if I can. Yeah, what's the speakers? Do we have speakers for speakers? So it looks like for the Keystone Clash, you get L.R. Bretz, you get Eric Bodrock, you get Gary Lang, and you get Jennifer Williams. She's probably talking on aquascaping is my guess. So 4 speakers, all right. Schedule, what else they got going on? So here you go, here's a schedule. They got the fish show room, the hospitality room. We've got a vendor area, social event, auctions, fish show, give a kid a tank, the awards ceremony, plan your visit. Yeah. Information's key. That's what I know. Information is key if you want people to fly in for an event. I want to go to the ALA so bad, but it's literally a week before my anniversary. Oof. Which also happens to be Halloween when Aquashella decided to do Dallas. Yeah, they did it on Halloween last year too. They do, I suppose I haven't been to one on Halloween yet, because I don't know. I don't know. They do a costume contest for kids and adults. They do like a trick-or-treat thing. Sounds pretty fun, honestly. But again, none of that's laid on the website. Like, how would you know, other than I talked to the owners of the event and they told me? I was like, oh, okay. So, the Clash does have some good speakers lined up. Yes, I'm still on the rant train of, let's stop having YouTubers speak at events and instead have people that don't already have a platform. And don't get me wrong, I like Lucas Bretz, and I think he's the only YouTuber there. And I already know the backstory. I believe they had someone cancel, so they got Lucas Bretz. So bar all that in mind, I like what Lucas Bretz got to say. I like him as a person. I've been to his fish room and all that. But here's what I maintain. If I want another dose of Lucas Bretz, I can get one every week on YouTube, right? Where if I want another dose of Gary Lang, I have to see him in person. So that's where I think shows could do a better job of, yes, invite the YouTubers, have them do a meet and greet with fans, have them do some stuff, but save those speaker slots for people you can't already see once a week, and myself included. I'm the biggest, so the ALA, they were like, hey, you want to give a talk? And I'm like, no, I do not want to give a talk, because if I was going to put on a presentation, I used to do this, right? Presentations are just worse versions of videos we can make. There's not the B-roll layover. There's a lawnmower in the background. I don't have a studio to isolate sound. And so I'm better off putting that time into making a great video that everyone can watch. So instead, our new move is, how do we spend time with fans? One-on-one questions. My flower horn won't breed. What should I do? Right? All of that kind of stuff, I think, if you want to get the nuts and bolts of how to run a natural fish room from L.R. Brett's, you could do a talk on it, or you could spend hours with them at that event all weekend long going, well, what about this? We were talking yesterday, thought about it overnight, and at dinner I was thinking, but how are you going to take care of chloramine? And then you might get the answer the next day. So I just think that's a better way to be doing this stuff, and we won't know, maybe no one would show up, but I think if you had all the YouTubers going to be at a booth, and they were meant to sit there and talk with you and interact with you, and then you could go off and see a Gary Lang, you could go see a Chuck Rambo, you could see a Ted Judy, you could see Ad Konings, you could see these people that don't regularly upload to YouTube. I think that's a better overall experience. So that's just my opinion. Did the Peruvian fish wholesaler drain their tanks straight onto the floor? Yep. I think all of them did that we saw, yeah. I'm choosing the ALA over Aquashella. Collecting fish and live bearers are more my thing. Yeah, I'm a big proponent of that as well. I tell all people that put shows on, what can we do outside the event though? I get it. Your event's the best thing since sliced bread. I know, everyone says that. But what can we do outside? Where is there to eat? Where is there to visit? Is there stores? What's going on outside that event too? It's an important thing, because I've been to a lot of events and oh, it's 6 o'clock closing time. Well, guess what? 6 p.m. until 11 a.m. the next day, that's a long time to fill when you're in a foreign city at a hotel. Ugh, what do we do now? I guess we go eat. What do we do now? Watch bad TV in the hotel. So I think over time, these events will keep evolving. When you go to an Interzoo, let me see if Interzoo has, because I love that event. Let's see here. It's not open for everybody, but let's see here if they have a schedule or not. Well, I can at least. So here I'm on the Interzoo. This happens in Germany, right? Last time I went, I think, was in 2018, because it got canceled from COVID. But you had 1,990 different booths. Let that sink in. Nearly 2,000 different exhibitors. Visitors that walk through those doors, 38,656. So it's multitudes larger than any event we're putting on in the United States. Now, they only do it every 2 years, but I don't have any pictures, I don't think. I don't know if it might actually, how do you go for, let's see, for visitors? Can you just go? Reasons for visiting, order a ticket. You might just be able to go. Yeah, they do say it's for professionals only, but I know there's a lot of people that work for a fish store that can get in. But after they've got a big banquet dinner that's got this crazy show where they hire a circus and all that. You got to buy tickets to get in and all that, but they got a lot going on. Yeah. Yeah, that doesn't show it that well, but it's, yeah, there, with 2,000 vendors, it's overwhelming for sure, and you could wander around for days. But and I haven't been to it yet, but I heard the one that Joel went to. What was it? Terraria? What was that event called? I can't remember, but he said it was amazing. I'd be tempted to go to that too. But I think basically what I'm trying to get to is there's going to be an evolution of events just keep getting better and better and better if we hold but shows accountable, right? The only thing we can do is vote with our money and let them know, like, hey, and I'm not asking for a boycott either. I mean, if you've never been to an aqua show, you should totally go to one because they're fun, right? But I don't know that I want to go to 3 different ones a year because they're similar, right? Like, there'll be slightly different vendors and that kind of stuff, but I wouldn't take 3 vacations a year to go to Aquashella. But if you're in Dallas or Texas, no brainer, you should go, right? And I'm always speaking from the I'm going to fly in mentality. Because if you have an event in your state, 100% you have no reason not to go. Kick in that 20 or 30 bucks, go have an amazing day out, 100% worth your time and money. But when you factor in hotels, flights, time off of work and all that, the bar is much higher. That's what I feel like. If it's go to Hawaii or, somewhere, anywhere else you want to go on vacation or go to a fish convention, the bar is pretty high if I can go anywhere I want. Vivarium, that's what it was. Not Terraria, Vivarium. Yeah. I do kind of want to try to go to that one time. Aaron's going to Dallas? Sweet. Let's see here. Can I have Coolie Loaches with a betta and a bunch of guppies and a 20? While it technically could be done, the Coolie Loaches and the betta, no problem. Whether he's going to allow the guppies, well, that's hit or miss, basically. Couldn't find Vitachem on the website. Am I just overlooking it? Let me see. We may have discontinued that product. And I say may because I don't know 100%. Let me look. Some of the stuff with COVID, like basically once we reach like 8 to 12 months of someone being out of stock, we're like, look, we just need to move on and figure out what we're going to do. And so that could be a product that we did that with. But let me see. I feel like we still have it. Maybe we don't. Maybe we did get. No, it's right there. Yeah, we have it. Let's see, Vitachem. Yeah, we have it. But why isn't it on the website? Let's see, Vitachem. Oh, I think the problem is, so I see. If you type it as one word, let me pull this up here. So you can see here we have it, right? But if you type it as one word, it doesn't find it. So I might be able to go back in on the back end of our search and add it in so that it'll take that synonym. Vitachem being 2 words. We do have it for sale. No problemo. Good. Lost my chat. Rudra says, guppies are working fine in my 20 gallon with my betta. Awesome. Where's a good place to find out about different shows and conventions? There's no, in my opinion, no good one spot. Some websites will kind of come up and like, hey, we're going to track all the events. And then they always kind of fall off and they just don't update things. So I don't know of one right now. What I do know is that we will always let you know the events we're going to. So on our events page, which that's not all the events though, so that's not 100% helpful. But yeah, what's that one? His name's Jacob. What? It's like Reef something. He might have all the events. I don't know. I can't think of anyone that actually has all the events. There's a comment. How do you stay motivated in the hobby? I find I'm just going through the motions of feeding my fish and not taking the time to watch and enjoy them. Well, I definitely have been there multiple times in my career. For me, a lot of times it might be redoing my whole fish room. It might be getting rid of a bunch of fish and getting new fish. It might be downsizing and taking 3 to 6 months off. For me, what keeps me in is like a new fish spawning. If you can get a friend, that helps a lot too. So, like I used to do that with Bob a lot, like, oh yeah, come on over on Tuesday and we'll work in the fish room. And even if I didn't feel like working in the fish room, like, oh, Bob's coming over. And by the end of the day, like, wow, I had a great day. It was really fun. Like, who knew that was going on? And we got that done. And so sometimes you just got to change your hobby a little bit. But most people that get out of it always come back. So I don't think I would get out of it, but you could get bored with the fish you have. Could be maybe you got to go heavier into plants or heavier into breeding fish, or you got to buy some new aquariums, or you got to get that friend. But I believe that anything done for a long time repetitively gets to be boring. And that's like my video burnout. It's like after 1,000 videos, after 250 live streams, like what's going to happen in this live stream that we haven't done before? Right? And so you have to start thinking out of the box, like, well, how do I spice it back up? How do I change it? How do I make this fun for me again? Otherwise, it's just a job, right? Chattanooga Ed probably has all the events. All right. The problem I think there is there's no money in being the person that categorizes all the events. And so it's a lot of work. And if there was a way to monetize that, like people either paid a subscription or events paid to get their event on there or something, it'd probably be a nice directory for everybody. But it'd be a lot of work, and there's a lot of changes and updates and all that kind of stuff that's continually going on. And so it's a lot of work for someone to oversee. Let's see. I got a sponge filter on Amazon. You don't ship to Canada, unfortunately. I don't think sponge is coarse enough. It was in the tank for 3 weeks and looked. Oh, he's gonna have to wait for the next thing to come because he's got his 60-second timeout. Or not timeout, but delay. So I'll try to get the second half of that. My baby Aqua puffer won't eat snails, only shrimp and frozen brine shrimp. Is it a worry? I've got the same issue with my baby green spotted puffer. It's only a worry if it goes on long term like that. At the beginning, they're still growing, so their teeth are pretty small. Their bodies are going to grow. Their teeth are going to grow. But as they start reaching more adult size, if we're not feeding foods that trim those beaks down or those teeth down, it does become problematic. So right now, I wouldn't worry about it too much. All right, so yes, that sponge filter is 3 weeks old and dirty on the outside after 3 weeks. When I took it out in a baggie and squeezed it out, basically nothing came out but remained dirty looking on the outside. Yeah, so part of that with fine sponge filters is that they're kind of made that way. It's going to collect most of the stuff on the outside, and in theory on the inside is filled with bacteria. That's one way to do it. I, like you, kind of don't like that as much. I like coarser, so more gunk can get in. I take more out of my tank. But there are definitely people that like, it's kind of like boxers or briefs, I think. There's some people are going to like one, some people are going to like the other. They both work. Right? And if you had none, you would take either one. If you had no underwear, you'd wear either one. And I think sponge filter is the same way there. So yeah, a little bit coarser. I'm a fan of that for sure. The aquarium industry needs to come up with an API equivalent of a shaker rack for the nitrate test. There is a robot out there that will test your water. It's like $1,000. I've never bought one, but I considered it and it had a way to like text you or something like that, your water parameters. Because I was looking into it for the warehouse, but I never did it. Bob Kaler created a Facebook group with the current stream schedule. Yep, that's been done a million times over, and they're always a mess. Like, it is useful. But like, it wouldn't have said today that I was going to stream before our event that we're having in a couple minutes, right? And people will do it for 6 months, a year, and then they get tired of it. Someone else takes it over, and yeah. So live streams, yes, but Actual events, it's a whole other thing. And yeah, I've seen so many websites and all that kind of stuff try this stuff over the years. And I think the core principle that fails is that there's no money behind it. And it doesn't always have to be money, but it's not even like Bob Kaler's channel. It's not like he's going to be like, oh, I have 100,000 subscribers now because people come to me for the info. So it ends up being this thing of like lots of work for little return. And over time, no matter what hobby or whatever it is, there's a point where life gets in the way and you can't afford to dedicate that much time and energy anymore. And then you don't find the right person to pass it off to. It kind of falls down. And then fast forward like 3 months, someone's going, I really missed that. I'm going to start that up again. A different person. So that's why it's always kind of jumping hands and doing different things. And I don't know there is a solution to that, but I think, most things in the world fall apart if there's not some kind of incentive behind it outside of feel good doing charity work. Like that'll keep someone going for X amount of time. Some people that might be their whole life. Some people might be 2 years. Some people might be, 2 weeks. But everyone's got a certain amount of that bandwidth to allow to these things. And so without that financial backing or it being a paid employee's job or something like that, it's going to be hard to stay up on. I mean, even it's a lot of work even for us. Every week we have someone working on the local club list, right? So all the time we're getting emails and adding new, so we add new ones, but then our website changed, or you go in, you click, and the website link is broken. So now we're chasing down. We're going, okay, well, what's your new website so that people of Circle City Aquarium Club stop getting an error or whatever that's going to look like, right? And so you've got all these clubs, and I should be able to zoom out, right? How do I zoom out? Let's see. Oh, maybe I just have to control zoom. Oh wait, let's see. There we go. And it's worldwide, so you can see. Let me zoom in a little more. So you can see you've got some in the UK, some in Sweden, some in Norway. You've got some down in Australia. You've got that's just same map over here. But there's a lot of countries with nothing. But there is quite a bit. I don't know. Maybe I should have the developers put that in and see how many clubs there actually are. Like, just have a little tally of like, there's 112 clubs or whatever that looks like. But there's continual work by our staff because the minute it's broken, someone will eventually go like, oh, I wanted to look at this club. The Aquatic Club of Pasco County. Literally is broken. How perfect is that? I swear it probably, too often things that are happen chance happen to work exactly correct on a live stream. So one of my employees, if you're listening, take a note that we need to track down the Aquatic Club of Pasco County's active website. Ugh. Let's see if the other one's. Let's see here. Go away. Let's see if the other one even. Zoom in more. Tampa Bay. Does that one work? Yeah, Tampa Bay works at least. So. Yeah, even just pens. I want a club pen. Anyway, there's a lot of work going on, and this is something that they set a website and it'll stay usually forever. Think about like the ALA website. It changes every time they have an event because it's a different club that hosts it. So that's something to know about the ALA, by the way, is that it's in Florida, but next year it won't be. It'll be somewhere else. So. All right, it is now time to go watch the Eric Thompson Corridors Venom Talk. I'm going to be in there in the chat. I can answer questions. It's members only, so if you're not a member, you need to become a member. If you're watching this in the future, you can become a member and watch it after the fact and see the other talks we've done. But I'm going to end this, and this stream should kick most of you over to that talk, and I'm excited. I'm going to put my headphones on and start listening to what Eric's got to say. So thanks for hanging out. Thanks for all the new members. Thanks for the stickers and all that. And I won't live stream tomorrow, but I will most likely be back next week. So let's go get entertained.